In this video, I'm going to be harvesting reed. This stuff is known in the UK as Norfolk reed, but it grows all around the world. And I need a lot of it to thatch my roof. G'day, welcome to Chestnut and Ag. My name's Stuart Chignall, and this is the latest video in the series that I'm doing on my thatched workshop. The last time I was here, it was a bit drier. We've had a fair bit of rain and the water levels come up. So there's a good thing I wore the gumboots because they've got a couple of inches of water that we're going to be working through. But anyway, need a lot of this stuff, so I need to get cracking.
Like it's coming over again.
Dog!
First tip, it might be advisable to leave the kids and the dogs at home.
Okay, so 1, 2, 3 bundles is what I did by myself the other night. 1, 2, 3 bundles, and little bundle is what I did with Sarah and the kids this morning. And then this afternoon, by myself, I've got all of this. I think I need better labour. Yep. Get off that! What I found is the best way to cut it is you get your legs fairly well spread to get down low, and so that your knee is sticking out, and get your arm around a bunch and then just cut and draw towards you and hold it on your knee. If it's getting caught upstairs, then you can just walk it away and gently draw it out without causing too many breakages. Once you've got a hand bundle cut, you get it sort of roughly neat, and then grab it about the 3 foot mark or so, and then lift it up, give it a good shake, making sure that the bottoms are all loose, and occasionally you might need to give it a bit of a comb. And once you've done that, you tap it down, give it another shake, and then gather it up to put in the fork, and then do it again. Right. Now, once the fork's full, you pass the string underneath, go around, and then just put your fingers through there and grab a bite, like so. And that's just a straight slip knot, where the slip knot's gone around the other end of the string. But then, this here is a slip as well, so we can use it to tighten things up. Now for the first string, you don't want it too tight because you're going to want to move these around to even them up. So you just get this string in place to hold things roughly together. And there you go, that's ready to take out. Now I've given up on my bamboo lashed fork for arranging the bundles because I was finding that I was getting very uneven bundles every time I moved it. Like the angle of the sticks with each other changes the volume that you can fit in there, and it just was giving me a lot of variance in the bundles, from some that were quite small to some that were quite big. So what I've gone with now is it's not as traditional because it's milled offcuts of wood which I've screwed together, but that H shape is going to give me it's going to be much easier to get an even size of bundles now, and that will make things easier when it comes to the thatching. The only nod to handcrafts that I've done is that I use my hewing hatchet to sharpen the ends, and that means it pushes into the mud quite easily. Another thing I should point out is that just like any other handcraft, the materials that you work with have a major role in the quality of your work. But not just the quality of the work, but also how fast you can work. This stuff here is really good solid reed, nice and thick, really strong. But if I pan back a bit, you can see how much of the strands have been lodged, has fallen over and blown over by the wind. And that makes this whole mess much harder to work with because it's all over the place. Whereas if we look on the other side and you actually see where I've harvested, over here, this stuff is thinner and not as strong, but it's much faster to harvest. It's much easier to clean up because so much of it is straight relative to, you know, the mess on the other side. And you'll find that that quality of material will be either a good thing or a bad thing all the way through the process. Good straight stuff is much quicker to harvest, it's much quicker to clean up, it's much quicker to arrange in the fork, ready to be bundled, it's much quicker to bundle. And then when it comes to actually laying the stuff on the roof, I'm predicting that the good stuff is going to be much easier to lay and get it neat and ordered. Whereas the rubbishy stuff, the stuff that's all over the place, every step of the process is going to be harder. And I'm pretty sure that will include laying it on the roof. Now, if you're overseas in a cold climate, it's not unlikely that you might be doing this when the water itself is frozen. Here in Australia, we don't really sort of get those cold temperatures in the lowlands. In Australia though, we have other things that we have to deal with. It is the middle of winter, and that is a king brown. Far out, what are you doing out and about? Now, if you are in Australia and you're doing anything like this, just be aware that there could be some company in the reeds or the rush with you. And if you listen to the background of the other footage, you'll hear an awful lot of frogs there. And yeah, they're food for those Joe Blakes. So keep that in mind. Like, I'll tell you what, it's winter, but it's not that cold. I reckon the temperatures are around 10, 12, and because I'm working, I'm getting pretty warm. But anyway, I have nowhere near enough for even a trailer load, let alone another section of the thatch on the roof. So I'm going to keep at it. Well, it's getting late. The sun has got so low that it's now beneath the cloud and it's shining through the gap between the cloud and the horizon, and you can see the color changing behind me. I think I've got 10 bundles cut, and I'm really after 3 more. Now, the methods I've shown you, they're what work for me and work for my body. Like if you are shorter, it might not work so well. So you'll have to just use my suggestions as a starting point and then work on from there, work out what your own body does. A lot of mechanical tasks like this, with practice, you pick up the knacks of what works for you. The only thing I think I might add to what I've shown you in this video is maybe bringing a board along that I can tamp the bundles on to even them up rather than tamping them to the ground, because when I'm tamping them to the ground where I'm harvesting, all little bits of leaf and stuff can get caught in the bottom, which is not a big deal because I just shake it out, but you know, it's a thing. But yes, I've got 3 more bundles to cut before I'm ready to call it a day. So I hope you enjoyed, hope you find this useful at some crazy project of yours in the future, and stay tuned for the next video in the series where I'll actually go and start laying some of the reed that I've harvested. Catch you then, bye bye. Oh, where do I put the sickle? Oh, there it is. Now, shortly after this, a few things went wrong, and the only thing I'll really say about that is that if you want sympathy, don't marry a nurse. I'm going to do a video on that because it'll be coming out pretty soon. And then after that, there'll be the first video coming out where I'll be actually laying the reed onto the roof. So stay tuned, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye-bye. Oh, but here's a sneak peek of one of the things that went wrong.